She told me she was pregnant and destroyed my life with that lie. Yeah, that's how this whole nightmare began. And before you roll your eyes and think, bro, how did you fall for that? Trust me, I ask myself the same question every single. But when someone you love looks you in the eyes, grabs your hands, and whispers something that big, your brain doesn't think. Your heart does. And mine wasn't thinking. It was sprinting. So let me take you back to the moment everything started falling apart, slowly, quietly, like a crack in glass you don't see until the whole thing shatters. I remember the exact night she told me. We were sitting on her couch, lights low, one of those evenings where everything feels soft, safe, almost cinematic. I had just got off a long shift, still half asleep, clothes smelling like coffee and stress. She kept pacing in front of me, wringing her hands like she was practicing a speech in her head. Then she said my name soft, shaky, and my stomach immediately dropped. No one says your name like that unless someone died or something huge is coming. And then she hit me with it. I think I'm pregnant. Not screaming, not dramatic, just quiet. Like she was afraid the words themselves might break. I swear everything inside me froze. My brain went blank. My heartbeat was the only thing making sound in the room. I managed to ask a couple questions, how far along, how she knew, what she felt, but she had this perfect mix of fear and vulnerability that shut my logic off. She said she missed her period. She said she took a test, but wanted to confirm with a doctor. She said she didn't know how to tell me. She made it feel real. She made me feel responsible. And listen, I didn't freak out. I wasn't one of those guys who hear the word pregnant and jump out the nearest window. I actually stepped up immediately because that's how I was raised. You own your mistakes and you take care of the people around you. So in that moment, I told her the one thing I thought would calm her down. Whatever happens, we'll deal with it together. I wish I could go back in time and punch myself in the throat. At first, everything felt like we were preparing for something life-changing. She sent me pictures of baby clothes she walked past at Target. She kept talking about names. She even asked how I felt about moving in together so she wouldn't go through pregnancy alone. And I thought, okay, this is happening, be a man. So I started working more hours, picked up extra shifts, said yes to every overtime slot, because if a baby was coming, we needed money, stability, a plan. Little did I know, the only thing actually being born was a slow motion disaster. My friends started noticing I wasn't around anymore. I kept canceling on them. Bro, let's grab a drink tonight. No, can't. She's not feeling well. Let's watch the game. Can't. She needs me. It wasn't even that she asked, she expected. Anytime I tried to leave, she'd call or text something dramatic. My stomach hurts. I feel dizzy. The doctor said stress is bad for the baby. You don't care. Those 4 words, they hit harder than any punch I've ever taken. You don't care. I didn't want to be that guy, the irresponsible one, the runaway dad, the villain. So I stayed and stayed and stayed until my world got so small it was basically just her apartment and my job. But here's where things really took a turn. About 6 weeks in, she started complaining that my job wasn't stable enough for a future family. And I swear, the irony of it now is so insane it almost sounds like fiction. She said she needed me more emotionally. She said my long hours were damaging her mental health. She said pregnancy makes hormones crazy, and she needed more affection, more time together, more reassurance. Meanwhile, I was coming home so tired I would fall asleep in the shower. Then one day, my boss pulled me aside. He said my performance dropped. He said I looked exhausted. He said the company needed people who could handle pressure. The next week, I was fired. One conversation, one folder, one awkward handshake, and boom, the only thing keeping my life glued together was gone. When I told her, I expected empathy. Maybe a hug, maybe a we'll figure it out. Instead, she said, well, that's not good for the baby. Like I just misplaced a pair of socks. I should have seen the red flags then. But when you're drowning, everything looks like a lifeboat, even the thing pulling you under. She started getting more controlling after that. Who I talked to, where I went, why I didn't answer fast enough, why I wasn't more supportive. I tried talking to her about going to a real doctor, A real appointment, real tests, something solid. But she always had an excuse. They're booked, it is rided, it's too expensive. I'm scared. My friend's doctor said home tests are accurate enough. Every time I pushed, she cried. Full tears, ugly crying, accusing me of pressuring her, stressing her, not believing her. So I backed off, and backed off, and backed off, until there was nothing left of me. 2 months in, everything exploded. She texted me in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m., saying she was bleeding. I jumped out of bed, threw on clothes, drove to her place like a maniac. When I showed up, she was curled on the couch, holding her stomach, acting like she was in shock. She said, I think I lost the baby. And listen, I'm not proud of it, but I broke down, right there, on her floor, knees on the carpet, heart in pieces. Not because I had planned for a baby, but because I thought something horrible had happened to someone I cared about. I kept asking if she wanted to go to the hospital. She said no. She said she just wanted to be held. And I did, for hours. Hours. The next morning, she seemed fine. Weirdly fine. Almost too normal. I gently brought up the idea of getting checked, making sure she was physically okay. She snapped at me so hard my ears rang. You're acting like it wasn't real. And that's when something inside me clicked. The tone, the lack of grief, the way she changed the subject, the way she dodged eye contact every time I mentioned anything medical. My gut, the one part of my brain she hadn't taken hostage, started screaming. Something wasn't right. So while she was in the shower, I checked her bathroom trash. Nothing. No tests. No wrappers. No vitamins. I checked her medicine cabinet. Same story. Then I checked the little drawer by her bed, the one she kept locked. She left the key in the kitchen. I know because I had seen her use it before. I opened it. Inside was the final bullet to my sanity. A stack of unused pregnancy tests. All still in the packaging. All untouched. Not one positive test. Not one doctor note. Not one appointment card. Just props. Props for a performance she'd been putting on for 2 months. I remember sitting there with all the air sucked out of my lungs. My hands were shaking so hard I kept dropping the tests. I wasn't even angry yet. I was numb, like someone had scooped everything out of me and left an empty shell sitting on her floor. When she walked out of the shower, hair wrapped in a towel, humming like it was a normal morning, I held up one of the tests. What is this? She froze, and not the guilty kind of freeze, the annoyed kind. She rolled her eyes, grabbed the test from my hand, tossed it back in the drawer and said, "You weren't supposed to see that," like I had just spoiled a birthday surprise. I said, "Tell me the truth." She stared at me for a long second, then exhaled like I was being dramatic. Fine, I wasn't pregnant, but if you hadn't been so distant, I wouldn't have needed to say it. Needed. She spoke like it was a tool, a lever, a strategy. And that's when everything hit me at once. The late night panic texts, the "my stomach hurts," the emotional breakdowns every time I tried to leave, the guilt trips about the baby, the pressure, the manipulation, the isolation. My whole life had been pushed off a cliff because she wanted control. I lost my job, my friends, my sanity, my sleep, my confidence, my future, all for a lie she crafted like a movie script. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I didn't throw anything. I just said one sentence. "I'm done." And she laughed. Actually laughed. "You're not going anywhere." But I did. I walked out, and when the door closed behind me, it felt like I finally took my first full breath in months. The weeks after were rough. Not gonna sugarcoat it. I was depressed. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't think. Felt stupid. Felt used. Felt like I should have known better. But here's the truth. I wish someone told me earlier. Manipulators don't look like villains. They look like people you trust. They use your kindness as leverage, your loyalty as collateral, your love as a weapon, and they never feel guilty about the damage they cause. I've spent a lot of time rebuilding, reconnecting with friends, finding a new job, going to therapy, learning what healthy boundaries look like, and I'm not fully healed yet, but I'm getting there. If you've ever been manipulated or gaslit or emotionally cornered by someone you cared about, you're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not dumb. You were targeted, and the fact you survived it, that says more about your strength than their lies say about your weakness. So that's my story, the whole messy, embarrassing, painful truth of it.